Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
The Horrifying Kreatures podcast.
What's gooling on, everybody? How we doing? And welcome to what I suppose will be the inaugural episode of what we're going to call ourselves for now is the Horrifying Kreatures. The Horrifying Kreatures podcast. Here we go. We are here to review all types of movies, spooky things, and things that might terrify you in the night. I will be one half of your gruesome twosome hosts. I am the one, the only, the Grand Duke of Spook, Kris Bell. And joining me is my cohort in horror, one of my favorite people out there on the scene, the horrifying Miss Helena Housewife. Helena, hello.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome to the show. It's good to be doing this with you. You know, people don't know that we've known each other since we were like little babies.
Pretty
but
much, yeah.
Right. And now look at us. Both of us being spooky and all that stuff. So, Helena, tonight we're coming together to talk about SCHLAF, or sleep for our English-speaking audience. From the wonderful director, hit me with it, Helena. What is
Michael Venus?
Michael Venus
Yep.
has brought us a really crazy psychological thriller, which, just a precursor, I loved in your review that you said that it was very Freddy Krueger-esque, and that was like one of the first things that clicked in my head too. That is the perfect description of this movie.
Well, it's one of the things I covered in my written review, but I went into it, just watching the trailer. They did a really good job of not giving hardly anything away. I went in, expecting a true like monster, and then it wasn't even that at all. Right.
It really does surprise you. And you know what I think might be a good idea? Let's go ahead and show the people at home that trailer that we're talking about right now.
Perfect.
Du hältst jetzt also deine Albträume für real. Ich muss es verstehen, Mona, sonst kann ich das nicht ändern. Was kann ich für Sie tun?
Was habe ich gesehen? Einen Sonnenhügel. Unser Hotel.
Auf Stainbach! Auf Stainbach!
Aua.
Das ist die Tochter von unserem Notfall.
Hallo. Haben Sie was mitbekommen? Sie haben sich alle umgebracht. Überleg dir gut, was du jetzt machst. Du bist stark und gefährlich. Wach. Kennst du das, wenn du aufwachst und der Traum ist noch da?
Da unten im Tale läuft's Wasser so trüb, und ich kann dir's nicht sagen, ich hab dich so lieb, und ich kann dir's nicht sagen, ich hab dich so lieb.
Boom. There it is. The trailer. If that isn't enough to have you sucked into this movie, just wait for the rest of this review, because I promise you'll be wanting to watch it by the time we're done here. So, Helena, I guess let's just start at the beginning. When it does start, you're in this whole, like, is this really happening?
Yes.
Kind of thing. Like, it's very much like our friend Freddy Krueger did. You're not really sure what's reality and what's dream world from the kickoff.
Yes.
And I would highly suggest watching, if you do not speak German and are not fluent in it, I would highly suggest watching it at least subtitled, because you're gonna I feel like when things are dubbed, you lose things in translation. You know, an actor can't be in a studio really putting that emotion into what an actual actor is putting out in their scene.
Yes.
So just a little precursor to the rest. I would definitely suggest watching it subtitled. So we kick off, we're in it immediately, and very much something that maybe, Helena, you can even I feel like a lot of people can relate to, is having that recurring nightmare of this awful place that you know inside and out. Like, you could give a guided tour of it if you were to ever come in contact with it. So I think they did a really good job of bringing, what am I looking for? A sense of, really just relatability in the horror. Is relatability a word? It is tonight. So the hotel. Let's talk about this hotel. Okay. When it kicks off and we first see the hotel in the nightmare, and it is like, you know, hotel hell with the big red letters and everything like that. But then you see it in the daytime, and I don't know, would you have stayed there just driving down the road? It looks pretty cash.
I mean, it looks like a pretty normal hotel when you're outside of, you know, Nightmare Land. I mean, it's
right. Now, do we know? I know, like, she carried the little pig statue around with her, the boar statue, and she had the nightmare about the pig showing up in her room when she first got to the hotel, that sent her into her whole I don't know, psychotic mess.
Yeah. Psychotic mess that turns catatonic.
Yeah, catatonic is right. Good Lord. Which I guess we should just say it. The movie's been out for a year, so this review will contain some spoilers. So there we go. We haven't spoiled anything yet, but
it'll happen.
Stick around. So do you know, is there any kind of like Germanic folklore that there's a significance behind? Like, they look at the little statue and she's like, oh, this isn't a boar, this is a sow. Like, is there anything behind Germanic folklore that's like seeing a sow in your dreams?
See, usually whenever I try and do my reviews, I try and look up things like that, and I actually hadn't had a chance to do that, but I may do it right now while we're talking about it.
Yeah, go right ahead, because I don't know if maybe it may not have anything to do with anything, because spoiler alert, towards the end there, you know, where the statue, where they find out about the whole statue thing.
Yeah.
And was there maybe a boar on the shelf and she had the sow to the boar?
Oh, okay. So this is what I found from my quick Google search. That so the boar was linked to Freya and is traditionally associated with protection from harm.
Okay.
And is, as a warrior symbol, it's a sign of protection and ferocity in battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really, probably a more common thing than that a person would carve or make into like a little totem. So, okay, that makes sense. Sure.
It didn't do its job. Everybody was getting harmed left and right.
Yeah, and he was kind of involved. Like, he helped the nightmare fuel. It just like, I don't know. So the daughter, Mona, she thinks mom's just wackadoo, right? She's like, mom's crazy, writing in her dream journal and having these wily nightmares, and I got to take care of my mom. But she pretty quickly finds out that she's pretty wrong, doesn't she? There.
Well, I mean, it just, I think what kind of blew me away is that just as soon as like mom is out of it, it's immediately thrust on Mona. Just,
Yes.
you know, it transfers to her to be, you know, her thing to deal with.
Right. Because she took the little statue.
Yep.
She took the little boar, this sow. She took the sow from her. And it's just so wild, like how accurate a lot of the pictures and things like that were, how they were really able to recreate like the dreams that she had and her walking along and seeing the glimpses of what had actually happened there, and then it just being a normal room again.
See, and I think that added on to just how excellently they blended the dream reality, you know.
Yes.
Like, is she really awake while she's visualizing these things, while she's, you know, going through these rooms, or is she, you know?
Right. Because it does get to the point where, yeah, she's crazy as her mom. It's because it gets to the point where she doesn't even have to be asleep. It's not like she does have to be having a dream. So they did, like you said, do a really good job of blending that reality and dream state for the viewer, at least. So I really liked the use of the real like Clue who done it kind of thing. Like, who can you trust out of this new gaggle of characters here that seem harmless enough at first?
I mean, Otto and his wife, and I cannot think of her name.
Yes, the daughter of the owners of the hotel.
Yes, the owner.
He's like the owner of the hotel now.
Yeah. I mean, because they present them to you as kind of a little bit odd, maybe a little bit eccentric, but still trust, you know, that you can trust them enough.
Right.
And, you know, some of the other side characters, like their son or the other lady that's working at the hotel that you.
Yes, the like younger waitress.
Yeah. That, you know, they're also themselves a little bit odd, but you don't, you can trust them enough, but you don't know exactly how much.
Right. Everybody seems to have some kind of secret, but you're not sure if that secret is sinister or not.
Yes.
So I love while we're getting into it. So she does make friends with Christoph, the keeper's son, or the woman's son, the owner's son.
Yeah.
It's Christoph, and then Eileen, or I can't remember the other girl's name right now, but she kind of makes friends with them at the grocery store place. Like, they're all hanging out and they're cool, and they invite her to do. We have to talk about this. What looks amazing is blacklight putt golf. Okay. But everybody paints themselves up like you're Kesha at Coachella, and then you do karaoke. It's right.
It was that, and the following scenes out of everything I loved visually. Those were my favorite, you know.
Yes.
If I don't remember anything else about this movie, I remember those scenes.
I don't even know what it was, like an interpretive dance orgy that ensued in this totally blacked out void of space.
So do you want to know what it reminded me of? Have you seen the Suspiria remake? Yeah.
Yes.
So the interpretive dance in that movie is what what that scene made me think of.
That's dead on. German Suspiria. So, and they were, they really went for it too in the nudity department. Like, everybody got their fair share of screen time.
No, and I appreciated that. Like, you get to see the ladies,
Yes.
you see the men. You're like, everybody's naked.
And everybody's very naked. See, just the discussion we're having. This is why nudity doesn't fly in America. Like, we're still not mature enough for it over here. I appreciated it so much, and I'm still like, tee. Like,
all of like the reviews on my Instagram, if there's like boobs or anything, I'm just like, yep, there's boobs. You get to see boobs.
you get to see boobs. That's what everyone's like, okay, cool. Turning the review off now, go and watch the movie. So, like, boob press. There we go. So, and I think we should touch on my new favorite, holiday game where you drug a giant party of Nazis.
I feel like that's very timely with everything going on in the world right now. Like,
right?
Rave, torture, drug Nazis, and put all the flashing lights and like.
Oh my God. Just if you've ever been on drugs, audience, and you're familiar with sensations and how intense everything gets, well, they basically unknowingly drug these horrible people. Let me just say that, awful, horrible people. They drug them, and then this girl just turns all the lights off, turns on a single strobe in the back of the room, and then blares the angriest metal music that I've ever heard. And half of them start just like convulsing, freaking out. Beautiful work. That's all I can say. Well done. Well done. Oh, drug your local Nazis today. That's what we're here for. Don't drug anybody. Well, the guy on the podcast told me it was fine. I was just doing what he said. Don't do that.
No, I mean, you can go punch your Nazis, but don't waste your drugs on them.
Yeah, don't waste your drugs on them. We're not handing out free drugs to Nazis. Come on. Absolutely not. Maybe in Germany. I don't know. Cultural differences. So I really, really did enjoy, like, all jokes aside, I really enjoyed the film, like, a ton. It was really well done, and you didn't know what was going on, and really until the end. And even then, you're still kind of like, whoa.
I honestly am still trying to figure out exactly what all it is that I was presented with.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest in one sitting. That's why you should watch it twice. I would. Everybody out there, see that? Sleep and SCHLAF director, watch his movie twice. I promise that it'll be worth it. You'll see things you didn't see the first time. Great stuff. So for me, you and I can talk about this. Spoiler alert. So when she has her big kind of freak out there towards the end, where she's going through the halls of the hotel and she sees the picture, the family portrait of her and Trude and Otto and like her mom, and like everybody's in there, and she's relatively close to the same age now that she is in that picture. So why did she not know who any of those people? Like, I could get it if she was like, oh, I was that baby in this photo, but she is like, you saw him a few months ago and took this picture.
I feel like that was part of the weird dream reality.
Yeah.
because I was sitting there, that was one of the things as I was trying to figure out everybody's relationship with each other, like how she fell in line with like Trude's story and how
yes.
just trying to figure out, well, because even Otto's wife had said something to the effect of, you're not like the first one of your family I've helped. And you're just like,
right. Marlene. Yeah. So maybe that's not so much an actual photo, but more of an accurate representation of everyone's correlation to each other in the family. Because it's not like it was a real picture hanging up somewhere. It was in her dream.
Yeah.
So maybe that was supposed to be more of like a dream interpretation of, hey, Otto's like your weird uncle somehow. So Trude, I guess, is her actual grandmother. Because
that was the one thing that I never, even with like trying to go and rewatch it, everybody's like I said, the relationships I couldn't exactly place
right
how everyone fell, together.
Yeah, I know. I think when she so Trude, for all you people out there, Trude is this almost like succubus demon that is just an incubus almost that is described in the film that you feel like might be the main antagonist of the whole thing. But then you learn that she's actually the one that was wronged all those years ago. She's the one that's actually, getting a good for her moment. And when she walks into her like cabin, all of a sudden, when she's like transported into her cabin with her and the little baby, she's like, look at your baby over there, don't you? And she's like, I thought she was like talking to the baby about her daughter as if maybe that was her mom making Trude her grandmother.
Okay.
I don't know. Could be totally off about that, but
I mean, and can we just talk about like the actress that played Trude though? Like just how
yes.
Like just, I mean, very like gorgeous lady, but just the way that she moved and acted, like it was just not, she didn't seem natural. Like just,
right.
She was just so like otherworldly, weird, creepy,
Mm-hmm. No, I know exactly what you're saying. It was very much, I don't know, just her movements were very unnatural. Like she herself was moving through the dream state. She almost signified when you were in a dream and when you weren't, when you saw her. Because nobody else moves like her.
No.
In the movie. Nobody else moves like that. I totally see why everyone was terrified of her.
Well, and the breakfasty meal that Mona has with Otto and his wife when she kind of becomes possessed with like Trude a little bit, like
yes.
I mean, props to her because she was able to mimic that fairly well.
Right.
Like,
I really liked the actress that played Mona. Obviously this is the first thing. But yeah. I know you by your character, and it's because I'm an American and this is the first thing I've ever seen you in, but I really enjoyed your work. I thought you and everyone in the cast did a brilliant job at portraying your characters, and you all kept me invested in the storyline the whole time. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Otto, though, how about Otto ending up being like a big jerk Nazi? I thought he was more of like the ends keeper. Like, I honestly thought he was into some super kinky stuff. Or just like, tie me up every night, baby. and then let me out in the morning.
So that's kind of what I was initially thinking, because he comes off, to start off with, he comes off, like I said, he's trustworthy enough. He seems pretty wholesome. And then you see him getting strapped into that bed. And I was like, oh.
All right.
And
Otto a freak.
And that is not even it.
Not at all. Turns out so the reasoning behind Otto getting strapped to the bed is because the demon incubus of Trude possesses him every night and makes an attempt to murder him in his sleep with his own hands. And when I first saw him, I didn't know that that's what it was. He just like gets loose and he's trying to choke himself. And I was like, is that an actual disorder where people just violently try to murder themselves in their sleep? Is it though?
Well,
I didn't.
Harkens back to that Freddy Krueger-esque kind of.
Yes. Big time. Like, he'll make you kill yourself. He won't even have to do it. So really the whole film did an excellent job at keeping you on your toes the whole time is a big part of what I'm trying to say. Yes. Let's do this. Let's talk about the things we didn't like about the film. Are there things you didn't like?
I would probably say just with the first watch, and even watching it again, it was confusing. That's probably my biggest thing, was trying to, and I think some of it may come down to it being a foreign film, having to visually watch the screen, try to read the subtitles,
right?
But trying to make sure you're catching all the details and it making sense by the end. Probably my least favorite thing. And that's no fault of their own. They, that I think that's more of a me and my attention span type of thing. But I really could not find a whole lot that I disliked. Just trying to keep up and piece together things. I am a mom, I have kids, I have a million things going on. So to try to, it's a personal problem.
Exactly. But same thing for me. There were times that I got lost in, even now, like I'm catching things as I'm asking them. Like I'm thinking back to, well, maybe that's why this was, but I'm having to piece it together even now. But like you said, that is, of course, I'm sure no fault of the director or any of the actors. That's personal problems. That's on us.
Well, that's why I've enjoyed this, because it's just verbally putting it out loud. It's kind of making things a little bit more cohesive.
Well, and maybe someone that gets into since we've done our own personal little spoiler-free reviews, if you want to see those, definitely go and follow Miss Helena Housewife on Instagram. Follow me over at Kris Bell Comedy. You can see those, put it out there with no spoilers. But for the deep dive, maybe we're answering some questions for some people out there too that have the same questions as us. So we can hope, right?
Well, what about you?
Hopefully.
Was there anything else that that didn't kind of mesh well for you?
Well, I go back to really just having a hard time at certain points, like you said, watching the subtitles and the screen. And if I was able to pay attention to all the details all at once, I probably would have been more there at times. And I have a terrible habit of making poorly timed jokes throughout the movie, and then I miss things, and once again, all on me. But as you said just a second ago, you're a mom, you've got 1,000 things going on. Can we talk about the big time super duper mom energy that comes from Marlene, who is basically a vegetable, basically paralyzed, catatonic in the hospital, unable to even, Kill Bill wiggle the big toe. And she is up walking. I mean, she's stealthier than any James Bond ever. Of course, once she got out of the hospital, there's nobody stopping on the side of the road to pick this woman up. Like, but bless her heart, she did. She went the distance. She like from hospital bed to back to that hotel. Mom limped there the whole way, and moms around the world cheered, I think.
Not only that though, I mean, she sees the fresh, hole, and she immediately starts like digging. Like she's
right. She's like, I know this grave is definitely my daughter's grave. She's down here and she's just like digging it up. Like, kudos. Marlene, whoa. I mean, I don't know many people that could pull that off, but she did. She did an amazing job at it too. And that's even more what I'm talking about is you get so invested in these characters in a short amount of time. I think the runtime's like 90 minutes, it's a typical feature, but in the era now of binge watching shows and you have 8 episodes in a season to really get invested in these characters and their character development, you kind of lose the appreciation for people that do it in 90 minutes and have all that character development, and you fall in love with them. You hate them. You're angry at the, and they did that so well. So should we rate it? That's something, I don't even know if we should do that on the show. Should we give it a rating of 1 out of 10 severed hands? I don't know. Because it's got to stay with the spooky theme,
give it 2 thumbs way up. 2
thumbs way up. We'll see if my post-production's good enough to make thumbs go way up in the air. So
flying thumbs everywhere.
Yeah, flying thumbs. Because it was excellent. And I highly suggest everybody gets out and checks it out over there on the Arrow player. That's right. You can download Arrow for free, start your 30-day free trial, and check out SCHLAF or Sleep, along with all their other great titles that are listed all over the place for the horror fan in all of you. So, Helena, do we have any closing comments on the film? Anything that the viewer going into it should look for? Maybe throw someone's preconceptions out the window for them and gear them up for what to expect.
I think the biggest thing with this movie is if you made it through this far and you kind of know what you're going in through, just completely everything we said, throw it out the window, go empty brained, don't expect anything, and you won't be disappointed. It will be nothing like you actually expect it to be.
Yes, even though we have given certain plot points that happen, but really it's been a jumbled mess. You're still not going to know when these things happen, what the hell we're talking about, who's Otto. So really, like she said, yes, go into this, wipe the old brain clean and go into it expecting anything, because that's what they're going to throw at you, is anything and everything. So, Michael Venus, congratulations to you and your film of SCHLAF, aka Sleep, for my Americano friends. I think we did good. I think this was a good first episode.
I feel less awkward and bad about it now that
see, we're gonna cruise through these, viewers. Don't you even worry about it. We're just getting started. we've combined forces to bring you the best horror movie reviews that the internet has to offer, in my opinion. In my very humble and modest opinion, we're the best. So, bada bing. Episode 1 in the books. For all of us here at the currently named Horrifying Kreatures podcast, I am one half of your hosts, the Grand Duke of Spook, Kris Bell, and
This Helena Housewife.
Hey. So be sure to check me out over on the Creature Corner. Be sure to check Miss Helena Housewife out over with the horrifying adventures of Miss Helena Housewife. Follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTubes, and do the same for me. And until the next time, be sure to creep those eyes peeled, our funky fiends, because there's always more creepy ghouling on with the Horrifying Kreatures. Bye-bye.
Be sure to like the page and subscribe to the channel for more creepy content just like this.